The White House reinforcing themselves, saying they're sticking by the president's 4 tweets almost 2 weeks ago, accusing President Obama of wiretapping Trump Tower in New York. You said today you do not believe President Trump's claims that Trump Tower was wiretapped on the orders of President Obama. If you don't believe the president on this, how can you trust him on other issues?
What I said was I have not seen any evidence that this occurred based upon the briefings that I've seen. I think that's what you probably heard from, I didn't hear what Devin Nunes and Adam Schiff said, but I think they basically said the same thing. So I didn't say one thing about the president's tweets. I said I have not seen any evidence that this has occurred. The Intelligence Committee has not seen evidence that this has occurred. They have an ongoing investigation on all things Russia. They have not completed that investigation. And so we'll see at the end of the day what that investigation turns up with respect to Russia, the campaign, and everything else. But heretofore, we have not seen any evidence. There's really nothing new here because I've been saying this for a few days.
But you've been briefed by the highest law enforcement and intelligence
that's the point
officials.
I'm making.
You're a member of that. You're one of the leaders of that so-called Gang of 8. You've heard the most sensitive classified information. You've raised this issue with all of them, and they have provided you say, with no evidence at all to back up what the president tweeted.
Yeah, that's what I just said. I said we have not seen any evidence that there was a wiretap or a FISA court order against Trump Tower or somebody in Trump Tower.
So should the President of the United States, do you believe, apologize to former President Obama and apologize to the American people for making such an assertion? I'm
going to leave it to him to make his decisions. I think he was responding to news reports and to some articles that were out there. Frankly, I didn't know about those articles until, I don't know, a handful of days ago. But apparently there was some articles buzzing around newspapers and internet and magazines suggesting this.
But
I think that's probably what he was
Mr.
responding
Speaker,
to.
Before the president makes an accusation like this against his predecessor, instead of relying on news reports, he should speak with officials, speak with those officials who would know if there was a FISA warrant, who would know if there was any wiretap that was ordered against Trump Tower in New York City.
Well, I can't speak to that. All I can say is I've not seen the evidence because I have spoken with those people, and I don't know if he had. I don't think he had actually before then.
Well, he clearly hasn't spoken to anyone, and he got that information. I don't know if you heard Sean Spicer, the White House press secretary, today, but he made it clear that the president was relying on news reports that were making these suggestions, and they're still not backing away from it, even though there's no evidence to back it up. And just to remind our viewers out there, let me read a couple of those tweets because they're pretty outrageous when you hear it. Terrible. Just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism. A few minutes later, is it legal for a sitting president to be wiretapping a race for president prior to an election turned down by a court order? A new low. A few minutes later, I bet a good lawyer could make a great case out of the fact that President Obama was tapping my phones in October just prior to election. And then a few minutes later, how low has President Obama gone to tap my phones during the very sacred election process? This is Nixon Watergate. Bad or sick guy. Those are pretty outrageous, and almost 2 weeks later, there's no evidence to back up any of that. So what's your bottom line message right now to the American people?
My bottom line is that I have seen no evidence that this occurred. That's been given to me from, let's just say, members of the Intelligence Committee, the people who would be in charge of such things. But the Intelligence Committee is still doing an investigation on everything dealing with Russia. All of their attempts to meddle in the campaign. Look, that's not a new story. We know Russia meddled in our election, tried to meddle in our election. The question is, let's go to the bottom of it. Let's make sure we can stop it from ever happening again. Then let's give our allies the tools they need to prevent Russia from doing so. So this investigation is still going through. And I think that's what we just have to wait and see. Let it run its course and find out everything we can possibly know about it to make sure that things that need to be fixed get fixed.
But bottom line also, the false statements like these 4 tweets, does it damage the president's credibility here in the United States and around the world?
Look, I think the president's going to be marked and judged by his record. I think he's going to be marked and judged by the results we achieve. I think the president's going to be marked and judged and viewed around the world by whether we rebuild our military, regrow our economy, repeal and replace this health care law that's so damaging health care in America. That's what I think is going to matter to him. I think it's going to matter. I meet with people from foreign countries all the time. I met with the Prime Minister of Ireland today. And I think what matters is results, policies. Do we achieve our goals? That's what's going to matter at the end of the day.
I'm going to talk about health care, but you still personally trust President Trump?
Yes.